This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC, bringing to our audience Dr. Neil Paulvin, who's going to tell us about how to better ourselves, how to recover quicker, and everything else that he's going to either affirm or debunk related to workout recovery and everything that we're doing in the Halo sector. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. This should be fun.
Awesome. So most of the audience here are either health club operators, fitness boutique owners, entrepreneurs, people thinking about getting into the space. At the end of the day, this comes down to getting people results and making them feel better. So you want to talk about your journey into this area of the market and how you got here and what you're passionate about.
Sure. To summarize a pretty long journey, I started doing family medicine, but geared towards sports medicine down in South Jersey near Atlantic City. And I was doing more and more athlete stuff where I was the only game in town. So I had to pick up more and more skills as I kind of went along. I started doing acupuncture, osteopathic manipulation, which is similar to, some people don't know it is similar to chiropractic. Then I started doing injections and a lot of that type of stuff. And they started asking about nutrition. And I'm like, okay, this is great. This is the future. I like tech stuff. Like, how do I build upon this? And then I ran a wellness center for a big doctor group in Jersey, where I'm from until about 5 years ago. And then we would start doing a lot more sports recovery when the boots came out, and started doing a lot more recovery injections. And again, even back then, 5 years, there wasn't as much out there as there is now. The industry has exploded. I know between CS, the Consumer Electronics Show, and everything in the last 3 months, I think there's 20 or 30 new cool things at least that are coming out now. But 5 years ago, that's where it was. It was doing a lot more hormones and injections and hands-on things. Athletes are coming to me, emailing me, hey, I have an event, I have a run in 2 weeks. I can't take steroids. What do? I got to run my triathlon. I got to run my marathon. And it kind of grew from there. I had people coming 2 hours away in Jersey, relocated here about a year ago. Now things have again exploded again between just being in Manhattan, having exposure to all the new people, obviously hundreds of running groups and boutique gyms, and now combining that with the technology that's actually available that I can bring to patients, or even say, I'll go across the street and go see so-and-so. That's exploded. Now we're exploding to telemedicine. So I have patients who are either bi-coastal or going New York, LA, Miami. So we're now doing telemedicine. We're going to hopefully open some satellites, develop some courses to optimize people both in the sports place, in the workplace. We're branching off into executive, and then also doing some general health as well.
Got it. And when you say you got a platform and other doctors that are working with you right now?
Right now, I'm the only doctor. I've partnered up now after being here for a while. I've worked with the best trainers and nutritionists. I mean, again, because of the way medicine is now and technology is, if there's a great nutritionist in California, they can talk to them just as well as they can talk to somebody next door here in New York. So I work with that. I'm probably going to be bringing on another doctor and hopefully a health coach by this time next year.
Gotcha. So when you look at your practice and being able to customize these plans, obviously with technology, it's become much more scalable, but how do you kind of maintain that personalization and also have the ability to, work with people that you've never met through, Skype or through telemedicine?
It's the in-person. It's easy because what I do, I have to get to know them. I spend an hour and a half the first time I meet them, either in person or online. So that makes it pretty easy. And with my skill set, I'm kind of a rare skill set. I tell my patient I have tons of tools in my toolbox. You don't have to see 6 different people to get what I can give them. And then I'll give them I'll send them we send them synopsis right after we see them. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. This is the plan. I follow up them via email or call every at least couple of weeks, if not every month, depending on what the patients need and want. So it's going to be me. I mean, initially, and like I also tell them, I'm your traffic cop. I'm your health traffic cop. So if we need to get you with a great trainer, that's not me. I know my skill set. Go see A or go see so-and-so, and it works. They know to find me. It's almost working too well now because I'll get emails or calls at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, and hey, what do I do? And it's like, okay. It's great that they reach out to me with any health question, or my sister, my father, whatever. So you build that relationship.
Gotcha. And so how many people are you overseeing right now?
Right now, the practice started here in New York about 10 months ago. So it's probably in a couple hundreds. I don't know exactly. I try to keep it some on the smaller side just so I can keep that personalization. Now, again, with the telemedicine, it's probably going to grow in that regard, finding people who have the same skill set I do.
So how does somebody start? I know you've got I looked on your site, so you've got the different blood testings, and in order to be able to get somebody on the right program, the work that needs to be done up front versus somebody just saying, oh, I heard about going into an infrared sauna and do some light therapy, and because I read about I'm going to do that versus kind of what you do and evaluating people first.
There's two forks. Really, I get two types. Basically, what we're talking about, we have two types of patients. I have a patient who wants the whole kit and caboodle. They want the 7 vials of labs. That's where we start from. And again, initially have them at least do a pretty comprehensive questionnaire initially. I talk to them for an hour and a half after that to get a detail with them. And then based on between what they want and what I see on their lab work, I'll map out a game plan for them. That's usually a combination, again, and I tell patients, I give you the big scope, the big perspective, and some patients want to do one thing. I have patients who want to do overachievers and they want to do 10 things at once. So it really depends. I tell them, how many balls do you want to juggle? We give them nutrition, a fitness plan, hormones. Then especially if they're Manhattanites, we'll definitely give them the recommendation of the tech stuff they can follow up with. And then recovery has become a whole huge space by itself. I do stuff in the office with them. I say, you're going to do this before performance, this you may want to do after. And again, we're not even just recovery of their muscles, their joints, their bones. Now they want to recover their brain with the gadgets and the hormones. And we're probably calling something called peptides now, which are exploding in the last year or so.
Can you explain what the peptides are?
Peptides are small amino acids which make up proteins, and they become in such small, specific way they react on the body. They have usually a lot less side effects, but give you a much more specific function. And there are I always describe it as about 5 buckets. You have the recovery ones. People may have heard of BPC 157, what they call it now the Wolverine pack, what a lot of the athletes are doing before sports. There's the brain pack, where about 6 or 7 that you can do anything from ADHD to, my Wall Street patients will want to just have better performance, be sharper. Then you have the autoimmune ones, which are mostly from like chronic illness patients. Then you have the cosmetic and vanity pack, which is the ones for hair loss. And now we were just talking about in a New York Post about the shot for erectile dysfunction and female sexual arousal disorder. So they hit everything, and they're branching out more and more. So they're just great, and they can what we call stack, which is a combination where you get more than the sum of the parts, which is great.
Are those names that you've put on them, or those are known peptide like regimens?
The Wolverine pack is a term. Is the term that's been out there. The rest of them I kind of group because I've done this. Get the question so many times now. It's much easier to explain to anybody.
Gotcha. The Wolverine is it seems like a catch-all. It's quite a powerful dosage.
Hard to trademark, but otherwise that's the way everybody's terming it now.
Probably hard to trademark, agreed. So as you look at the amount of either workouts or personal training or group exercise that people are doing in, let's say, I don't know, their 40s, do you say, are sometimes your diagnosis related to like, look, you actually can't work out that much, or you can work out that much, but here's, the active recovery that you must do, or else this is not sustainable?
The answer is all of the above. Okay. I mean, it depends on, I have patients who come in who are in great shape. They're actually overtraining. So they're doing 2 a days, 7, 8, 9 workouts a week. That's most times, unless you're an elite athlete, unless you're LeBron James or somebody like that, and you're very closely regulated, it's going to mess your hormones up. It's going to affect your cortisol, insulin. You'll actually maybe lose muscle mass. So what we try to do is cut the workout down, add things that you need to do in there, meaning more recovery, more flexibility work. We'll add in things like I talked about, like the BPC, some of the peptides. Just a note, make sure if you're a high-end athlete, check with your association. That's a little asterisk there. Mm-hmm. And then we will fine-tune it. Especially between that and the new equipment that's out there, things like ARX and Vasper, we can get them maybe working 4 or 5 times a week, maybe less time, where they're going to put on more mass or be leaner, whatever their goals are, lose weight. Their hormones get better, their testosterone, their growth hormone, cortisol levels regulate, they sleep better, and may only work out 4 or 5 times a week. And then, again, everybody's different. There's type A++ personalities where we say, okay, you want to work out 6 times a week, it gives you that rush, let's do a yoga class, or we can work with them no matter what. Again, especially Manhattan, LA patients. I mean, obviously the sky's the limit in terms of what's out there. Mm-hmm.
So what's just some of the new products that I've seen recently that seem to be picking up a lot of steam and people talking about like the Theragun or the Hyperice. What are your thoughts on those? Basically like self, muscle massagers.
95. Most of it's great.
Okay.
I mean, I think the only problem I'm seeing with a lot of these self things now that are coming out that you can do at home is that patients don't understand they're not end-all fix-alls for everything. If you have a bad back and you just say, oh, I'm going to do the Hypervolt or I'm going to do the Theragun, you may actually make yourself worse. So there's a little bit of loss of control there. They say, oh, it's cool, and there's this great fitness model doing it on Instagram. It's going to help me too. But overall, it's good that you can access things that only chiropractor or a doctor could have before. So in most cases, it's really good. I know the next question is which one's better. Theragun, in theory, in terms of their science, is a little bit better in terms of getting a little bit deeper into the muscle. The thing it sounds, and they know it too, is it sounds like a bazooka going off.
Yeah, I just got one actually. It's quite.
So
it's quite. It's like a Black and Decker.
Exactly. So
tool from the 90s.
If you're in your own house, it's awesome.
Yeah.
If you're trying to work in an office like I am, and you have people around you, I can tell you a lot of therapists now actually will switch to the hybrid literally because of the loudness of it. They work a little bit different. The science backs up Theragun a little bit more.
Got it. Also, lymphatic massage seems to be a big topic these days, or just over the last couple of months. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe in it a lot for 10 different reasons. I mean, I actually did 2 Instagram posts on it. It's incredible. It's growing from literally head to toe. It became really popular with the Normatec brand, doing the arm and the leg recovery boots. Again, the science there is it works well. Again, it does the same answer. You have to be careful. It doesn't treat everything. Being that I have a hands-on background, I've now added on doing like hands-on lymphatic massage myself, or if you know a good lymphatic massage therapist to work with you, you also want to make sure you should, you should also, if there's an injury in that area or a restriction, like if you have a hip restriction or a hip flexor or IT band, you want to get that loosened up or addressed first before you do the compression boots. It should be a combo. But with so much stuff out there now, everything should not be an isolated thing. I saw this person on Instagram, and this place looks cool, and it's $29.99 on Groupon. You got to make sure you're doing the right thing that's going to help you out. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself back rather than just being cool and posting on social media. Got it.
What are your thoughts on the copper compression socks? So I think Brett Favre has some infomercials.
5 years ago when it came out, there's some science backing it up that it helps a little bit with inflammation. I know both scientifically, anecdotally, patients said it helped them. It's just been so surpassed by the other 200 things that have come out since then. It's a nice, very low-end, cheap way of doing things, and you can do it at home. It does work, especially for knee joints, and some people actually put the insoles in their shoes if they have a little bit of pain in their feet. It works. I mean, it's like a 10%, 5%. It's not the big gun you're looking for, though.
Got it. So as you look at some of the new types of concepts that are coming out, so you've got like Restore, you've got some other wellness-related, retail concepts that are being tested. You've got modern acupuncture now that's coming out. Do you view that we're closer to being able to market this to the masses, or do you think that it's, still years away from people understanding that, this is going to hit mainstream? As an example, I was on a plane the other day, and there are people that never heard of SoulCycle, never heard of Flywheel, never heard of Barry's Boot Camp, and definitely never heard of Normatec. So how far out are we, and how excited are you about where we at least are now?
I'm very excited because being my background, I do have an integrated medicine background, so I do a lot of holistic. I do acupuncture, dry needling, herb supplements. So I believe in playing both sides of the fence is the best way to get where, especially recovery-wise, athletic-wise. Obviously, you can't be popping steroids every day. Not like prednisone, not illegal ones. I think, like you said, though, if you're in Manhattan, LA, Miami, people know about it. I know even talking to friends in other places, they don't know a lot of this stuff is or what the purpose is. You have to. Right now, it's in 10 years from now, I think it's gonna be in every place from here to the middle of Kansas. I think right now it's great. It's, in a perfect world, everybody should be doing it. I think you're seeing this is gonna be the next technology buzz where a lot of companies, kind of like cryotherapy was 3 years ago, at least in Manhattan, where I know a lot of places now are selling their units because they just couldn't get people in the door. Yeah. It helps people, but you can't build a business around it. I know now recovery is becoming the new boom at least here in Manhattan, LA, you got to do it right and cater to your clients and give them the whole picture. The stuff works. The business model has got to be built the right way, especially now with telemedicine. The fact that a lot of these patients now can, with the prices come down, can do it in their home as opposed to having to go and spending $200 on a package.
Right. So do you see some of these membership models or when you see like a new recovery place, prop up and they've got a couple of different modalities, you're like, all right, like that's just, good luck trying to make that work because you're not really giving somebody the full.
The only way it's going to work in a business model in a brick and mortar right now is if you have a built-in clientele. Somebody like me who I have patients come in, it's great as an add-on. If you're a running club or like I know a lot of the gyms are now adding it in. I saw a gym in Manhattan that added like 5 recovery services. Yeah, you have 30 people there. Rather than them going somewhere else, they'll do it for you. So a great add-on.
Yeah.
It's not going to build a business by itself. I kind of cringe because, again, I think a lot of them are going to fail. There's a place called Remedy Place in LA who did it right. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of money behind them. So I know that going in. But they also included community. They did a lot of things that aren't typical what's around here. Everybody has recovery booths. Everybody has a sauna now. You can go there's probably 2 on every block now where infrared saunas. You have to have something, do it right, have a right model to build it out.
Gotcha. So what do you see as the next, couple of years or when, let's say 2020, like what do you think is going to be the trend on the recovery side that, gets the most traction?
That works the best or that the Joe public's going to use? I
would say that works the best.
Okay. Well, right now, what the biggest things that are going to see are you're seeing one that's out there now, like I said, everybody's having that started one place here, Recover near NYC used to was the first in the market to have. It's called NuCalm. What that does is it helps in terms of sleep and reset your vagus nerve. You hear people, that's your fight or flight mechanism, so it calms you down. You get 2 hours of sleep in 30 minutes, and it also helps with recovery. So that's going to be huge. And again, that's
NuCalm, it's called?
NuCalm. That's going to be incredible. Like I mentioned, the peptides. I did an article in the Post last week about it. I got 20 questions about it. That is going to be huge. Other things that are out there are going to be people using their data with their wearables, actually be able to use their data rather than just posting on social media and say, oh, look, I'm cool now. I put my Oura ring up or whatever. That they know how to use the data. And the other thing is, 2 other things are going to be what's called PEMF, which is really great for recovery. And the other thing that's coming out more in terms of recovery, more in the brain side, is what's called neuromodulation. There's about, I think of 15 to 20 units that are coming out in the next year or so that are doing everything to help you with virtual reality to help you relax and decrease inflammation, to this looks like almost like a stick of gum that you put on your forehead that's been shown to help with your memory and focus while you're performing. Anything from performing, like if you're a high-end violinist, to a golfer to help you focus and really fine-tune your putt. I think that's...
And what do? You like paste it on your forehead?
It looks like an eraser-sized piece of gum.
Wow.
And you'll...
Wow. Is that like allowed by the leagues or?
Leagues are, it's very interesting.
Like the PGA might say, hey, that's good or bad.
It's I said it comes down to money. They let something called BPC out. BPC is still legal, which is a peptide. They're now laying CBD. You can have your own hyperbaric machine, which we even talk about. Hyperbaric's going to explode in the next year or two. There's certain things you can't do yet. The other peptides are not allowed. But they're going to allow most of the other stuff. I think the league always has to catch up. They get rid of something, they realize, wow, this actually works.
Right.
All the athletes want it. We'll go from there. The NBA is the most progressive. The Major League Baseball's like my grandfather's league. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah. If you can get your golf scores down lower, it'll probably increase the ratings. So I'd say it's probably
true.
Trending towards acceptability. I would suspect.
No. Exactly.
So what are some of the things, are there certain things that annoy you that haven't been like debunked and like off of the workout recovery or off of like, hey, 10 years ago, we kind of told you that this wasn't real and let's get rid of it already?
I'm trying to think. Not as much, not really anymore. I'm trying to think. Not really, nothing. I think a lot of stuff has kind of gone away. I think it's the fact that people know that just don't buy whatever. They're becoming much more cynical. They're becoming much more discerning. I have patients and clients coming to me now saying, hey, I saw this online and I did my research, and they'll come to me with studies from the computer that are really well done studies and say, this is what I want. So it's almost the opposite now. Most of my clients are very well educated at what they want, and they know it's going to work. So it's not, just be buyer beware more than anything else.
Yeah. So have you seen whether it's like health insurance companies start to pay for some of the evaluations that you're doing, or is most of this just coming out of people's pocket right now, but you think it could turn into preventative dollars?
Yes, the insurance company will pay for the initial evaluation when it includes lab work. Most of the lab work is usually covered in the general evaluation. Again, things we didn't talk about, if patients are coming in more for wellness in terms of weight, or they're coming in terms of their sugar's high, that's all going to be covered. When you start getting into the more of the recovery, it becomes a little bit gray area. Certain injections are covered, but things like PMF or NuCalm or cryo or recovery boots they're probably not ever going to be recovered or going to be at such a minuscule rate. It's not going to be worth it to most doctors or physical therapists or anybody who'd be doing it in their practice.
Got it. So as you look at what your goals are for the next year, obviously you're in the post. You've got a sold-out event coming up, so we're not going to plug that because there's nowhere to sit.
Well,
maybe we can plug it a little bit. Let's plug it and then unplug
because
it.
It is. We're going to be hopefully live streaming it out. It is also for charity. It's a raffle for a great charity that supports our military personnel called Task Force Dagger. There's going to be great wellness products. Actually, one product I didn't mention is called Neufit. It's great for athletes who are rehabbing off an injury. Like I had a shoulder injury. I know somebody who had an ankle injury that nothing else fixed. You do the workout, the training with that on and improve that. You got rid of it. And also
Neufit, it's called?
Neufit.
Neufit, okay.
And also if you have a problem, if you are just trying to maximize your curl or your squat, it does that too. That actually, coming back to your last question, that technology, that Compex, products like that are definitely going to be where you can both maximize injury recovery as well as your sport performance. Your sport performance is going to be huge. But we're going to be giving away things like that in a sports and wellness type situation. So sorry, we went off track a little bit. No,
that's good. That's good. So we'll post the link on the podcast tile when we get this up and running. All right. So, from a standpoint of the U.S. versus other markets, just my last question, is there any other places in the world that you kind of get your, advanced thinking from?
And it's split. There actually are outside the U.S., there's really 4 places. London just had the best wellness sports recovery summit in the world. They had every speaker from all over the world called the Health Optimization Summit. Okay. It was incredible. And they have a place there called ILS Wellness, who has the best recovery, sports performance, relaxation studio I've ever seen in my life. They're leading the charge there because the laws are a little bit more lax than they are here. Okay. Germany, in terms of sports regeneration specifically, that's where Kobe goes and Shaq and LeBron all go for their types of procedure injections because doing stuff you can't do here. And there's stuff being done for the same reason in Mexico and the Cayman Islands. That's more if you're looking for more of the high-end injections or IVs that aren't allowed legally in the U.S. Got it. This is great. Well, this has been a great crash course in the recovery category, and hopefully we can keep people working out, and you can help keep them recovered quickly enough so we can continue to grow the sector. Exactly. So, I love doing it. It's fun seeing them get better and perform and watching them be the best they can be. Excellent. So live your Halo lifestyle, and if you need to get a fix, then Dr. Paulvin will be available to you, and we'll watch the live stream event. Hope to see you there. Thanks. All right. Thanks for coming on. Thanks. Awesome.